Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to our discussion on voice change. This is the third lecture on this topic. Here, our focus will be on imperative sentence. I hope that you would be with me with your sincere attention. Now, let us start our today's class. When we are going to talk about imperative sentences, voice change, we have to know what kind of sentence is called imperative sentence. Now, let's try to find out what kind of sentence is called imperative sentence. The sentence which convey a command, a request, or a forbiddance is called an imperative sentence. This type of sentence actually addressed to second person, but most of the time the subject remains hidden. For example, bring me a glass of water. The subject is not mentioned here. This is silent or hidden. This is an active form. But if we have to change the voice to passive, that time we have to mention that you. We are going to talk about that afterwards, nothing to get worried. That is actually a formula you have to remember that most of the time, not always, but most of the time, if you have a sentence with command or order or request or forbiddance, and if you are not having any subject clearly mentioned, try to remember that it would be you or second person. So when you are going to change that, you have to put that you or second person in your passive voice. Okay? An imperative sentence is changed from active to passive voice according to the message contained in the sentence. For this purpose, words used are as follows. If in active voice it contains an order or a command, what you are going to write in passive? Yes, we're going to start like that. You are ordered to, or you are commanded to. In your active voice, if it contains request, then what you are going to write in your passive voice? You are going to start with you are requested to. If it contains an advice, then you are going to write you are advised to. Advised. Remember, advice is noun that is with C, A-D-V-I-C-E, and advise, A-D-V-I-S-E, advise, that is verb. When you are writing in passive form, you are going to use V-I-S-E-D, that is the verb changed participle form, okay? Okay, now, if it contains a negative order in your active voice, then you are going to write you are forbidden to. If it contains let us in your active voice, then you are going to start like it is suggested that we should, or you can write it is proposed that we should. Okay, now there we are having few examples of imperative sentences voice change. Let's read them out. Leave the room at once. That is an active. Is it order or request or forbiddance? Yes, this is order. So we're going to start, and there is no subject here. And when we are having a sentence with command, request, or forbiddance, but when there is no subject, what the subject we would use there? Yes, we know we have to use second person, you. Okay. And as we have mentioned that and figured out that this is a command, we are going to start like you are ordered to leave the room at once. Or we can write like let the room be left at once. Okay, next sentence. Bring a glass of water for me. Same case. There is no subject here, but there is a command. So we are going to start like in passive. You are ordered to bring a glass of water for me. Or we can write like Let a glass of water be brought for me. Okay, next sentence. Go to market immediately. Request? No. Command or order. So we are going to write like, you are ordered to go to market immediately. Now, the next sentence. Please help me. Passive is, this is a request. Please kindly, these words indicate request. Okay. Now passive would be, you are requested to help me. Okay, now the sentence. Please take pity on him. Request. So passive would be, you are requested to take pity on him. Another sentence is, please keep this book on the table. Passive, you were requested to keep this book on the table. Last one, do not walk barefooted. What kind of thing this is happening here? Yes, this is forbidden. So that means negative command. So what would be the passive? Yes, you are forbidden to walk barefooted. These examples are actually given here to show you the variety of imperative sentences voice change. And we're going to learn them one by one in our next slides. We have already learned the basic rules of changing voices from active to passive. We have known the subject-object changing, pronominal changing, verb changing. I think this lesson will not seem very tough for you. This time we are going to add few more ingredients with our previous rules just to give this different flavor, because every dish has their own flavor, like every sentence has their own expression. Let's go for this first rule. Rule number 1. When our imperative sentence starts with never, the passive voice structure will be let plus subject. This subject is object of the active voice. We already know that, okay? That means let plus object of that active voice plus never plus be plus past participle of main verb. We can work like that, or we can use ever instead of never. The next one is actually saying that. Number 2, these are actually the same thing, just we can use never in place of ever. Let not plus object of active voice plus ever plus be plus past participle of main verb. Okay, now it would be more clear. The structure seems complicated always, but I'm giving it to you as because sometimes some people do learn quickly from structure, though I never learned in that way. I always think that it is easier, more easier if you are learning from the example. So let's go for the example. Never tell a lie. I'm going to start with let, okay? Let, and I'm taking the object of the active as subject. Let a lie never plus be, and usually after be we're going to use past participle form of be verb. So our sentence in passive voice would be, let a lie never be told. Or according to the second structure, we can write like, let not a lie ever be told. Same things with two different structure, as because we have used ever for maintaining the negativity, I'm using not with let. That's all, nothing that much different. So our example is never tell a lie. Passive would be let a lie never be told, or let not a lie ever be told. Try to match that with the structure. Okay, and we are having a task to do, that is never mock at the poor. I think you would be able to do that by yourself by using the structure or the example. Okay, now let's go for the next slide. Rule number 2. If Do not gives the impression of negative order or command in active voice, then the passive voice's structure will be let not plus object plus be plus past participle form of main verb. That means P3, we do call that. Now let's go for the example, how it looks and how to do. If we have the sentence in active like, do not waste your time. Here, the command or order is saying that you should not waste your time. That means negative order or command. So, the passive will start with let not. Okay? Let not. Let for do and not for not from do not. Let not, then object from active. The object was your time. So I am going to add your time here. Let not your time, then be verb, then past participle of wasted. Wasted. So I'm going to use wasted here. Let not your time be wasted. That would be the passive form of to not waste your time. Now, we can also follow our third slides pattern here, like as because I said before that if we are having negative order or command, we can also start with you are forbidden to with that expression. We can also do with that expression here also. Like we can also write like you are forbidden to waste your time. That is also correct. Okay? Now, we are having a task for you that is do not tell a lie. That is in active. You are going to do that in passive in both format because in your exam hall you may have any of the pattern in your passive form. Then you have to recognize that how to deal with that, how to come back to the active form. So we have to work with both the patterns. Okay. Okay. By starting with a verb when imperative sentence indicates order or command, then in passive voice the structure will be let plus subjective form of the object plus be verb plus past participle of main verb. For example, shut the door. The sentence starts directly with a verb. Okay, so in that case, we are going to start with let, or we have other option that we have learned in our third slide that we can decide what that was. If that was order, we can say you are ordered or something like that. You are commanded. But here we are going to learn it with let. Let's see how to do that with let. Shut the door. The sentence started with verb. So we are going to follow the structure let plus subjective form of the object. The object was the door. When there is something in name, the subjective form of the object would not change. Okay, so it would remain the door. Okay, then be verb we would add be and then past participle form of shut. Shut is in P3 from what is that? Yes, shut. So what would be the passive? It would be let the door be shut. Or we can say like that, you are ordered to shut the door. Okay. Now we are having a task here also that is pen through the lines. This is an active form and you have to do that in passive form with both the pattern. In sentences where God is invoked, the passive voice of those sentences will be as follows. If the sentence in active is like, may Allah bless you, in passive it would be, may you be blessed by Allah. This is rule number 4. That means when you are asking for something to God, to Creator, to Almighty, to the ultimate power, then you have to use that kind of pattern of changing them in passive voice. You are having a task there, so you are going to do that by yourself. The sentence is an active, that is, may God fulfill your wish, and you have to do that in passive. Okay? Now, rule number 5. When we are having sentences with modal auxiliary like shall, should, may, might, can, could, must, ought to, going to, like that kind of things in active form, then we have to bring them in our passive form with a be after them. That means be verb have to add it with that modal auxiliary when you are bringing them in the passive voice, and you have to do that for changing them in passive. We are having example here like the sentence, you ought to respect your parents. You ought to respect your parents. So we have to change that in passive. Our subject would become your parents, and we're going to take the modal auxiliary ought to. Ought to would come with a be. That means after ought to we are going to add be. So our term would become your parents ought to be, and naturally, after be verb, we are going to use the past participle form of main verb. Our verb was respect, so it would become respected, and as usual by you. So our passive form is now your parents ought to be respected by you. So now we are having our pattern, we are having our rules that we have learned through all these slides. Just you have to practice them. And if you practice regularly, this would become something very easier for you. And here we are having another exercise for you. You have to do it by yourself. And the sentence is an active, that is, you should learn your lessons. You have to do the passive. Rule number 6 and 7 are actually already discussed in slide number 2 and 3. But I wanted to put them in rule because I know that you would finally focus just on the rules. So keep these things in your notebook also. Rule number 6. The passive form has to begin with you when the object of the verb in the active voice is not given. You plus are advised to or are requested to or ordered to plus verb plus extension. That means when we are having the sentence just started with verb, we are going to follow this thing like work hard. Then our passive would be you are advised to work hard. Okay, now the task for you is get out. No object here. Yes. So passive would become, yes, you know, you have to do that. Okay, rule number 7. If imperative sentence starts with please, kindly, in that case, we have to follow the same structure like rule number 6. Please lend me some money. Passive form would become you are requested to lend me some money. Your task is kindly do this work. You have to change that into passive. Thank you so much for your attention. This is our last class on voice change. So make a complete lecture note as assignment on voice change with a beautiful cover page. If you wish, you can also draw pictures in your cover page or in pages of your notes. Or you can also design them with your favorite colors. And most importantly, read them and practice them a lot. Wish you good luck.